Welcome back to the Missoula podcast. Brandon, how are you, man?
Steven, I'm doing so well. I am absolutely loving Missoula this time of year.
Oh, yeah. Mid-July.
The sun is finally shining. The rivers are warming up.
People are outside.
People are a lot. Oh, it's so great.
Such an active community.
I can't think of a better place in America than Missoula, Montana.
No way.
In the month of July.
No way. This is what we live for.
It's amazing. So beautiful. Have you been out much?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we've been downtown a lot. We've been running. We've been up in the mountains, camping a little bit. I mean, not a lot of work being done this time of year for me.
It's really interesting. For me, growing up in Missoula, downtown was like, I didn't fit. I didn't feel like I fit in with downtown. It was a different scene. It was far away relatively. Like you just didn't go to that part of town. So for a season of my life, when I would go downtown, I just felt awkward, uncomfortable. Like I didn't know where to go, or I just didn't fit in because Missoula is so diverse.
Yeah.
And everything lands in downtown. Like the corner of Higgins and Broadway is where it happens. But just the last few years, I'm seeing myself downtown more and more, like back-to-back days, evenings, like absolutely love it. I've been downtown every weekend for, I don't know, the last several weeks. It's amazing this time of year. And it doesn't matter how many times I cross Higgins Street Bridge. Like you just stop and look and take it in. And I don't know, maybe I'm just an old man now, but it's the simple things in life. But
no, you're just appreciating what we have a little more than when you were a kid. Which brings up a point. Missoula is such an active, unbelievable, I wouldn't say fitness community, but you can't help but notice all the bikers and the rollerbladers and the Brennan's Wave and the floaters, which is why I'm so excited about our next guest today. Yeah. Can you intro our next guest a little bit?
Yeah. When it comes to health and fitness, I think our guest today is one of the top experts. As of the point of this recording, I have not seen the results of the Best of Missoula, but I know he was nominated and in the running for one of the top personal trainers, fitness coaches in Missoula. And it's our good friend, Ryan Tripp. Ryan just runs a phenomenal business, gets phenomenal results, helping people achieve their goals. And I think what you find out through this conversation is the goals aren't always what they seem. Yeah. It always seems to start off that people just want to lose weight, but there's so much more that comes from it when it comes to their mental health, their well-being. And so I guess let's just dive into this conversation with Ryan Tripp from the Lean Life Project. Just a phenomenal conversation. And here, let's take a listen. Ryan Tripp, how are you, man?
Doing great, man. How about you?
I am good. So excited. Steven, I can't believe you've not met Ryan Tripp before. This is the first?
No.
Here in studio?
First time meeting him. Yeah. Seen him on Instagram, Facebook, all that good stuff. Yeah. But yeah, in person. Thanks
Sports
for coming
Illustrated, cover, like all the things.
Yeah.
Like I think our story, our connection, our relationship is so perfect segue into just conversation with you and who you are, just the power of community. You did I think you went to school with, and then you did some training with my cousin, Casey.
Yep.
Casey Smith, which Nick, make a note. We need to get Casey on episode here. But Casey was coming up to my house. Casey and his wife, Jess, were coming to our house for dinner, and he texted me that afternoon and was very particular on what we were eating. He's like, hey, if it's not too much trouble, can I have 8 ounces of steak? And I was like, what? Like, that's kind of weird. You're going to somebody else's for dinner and you're telling them. But then Casey came up to our house and he shared his experience of working with you as a trainer and what he saw in his life, and was telling me all about Ryan this and Ryan that and the Lean Life Project. And so we got connected on social media, and then we got a part of a business networking group together, and then working out together. And now here we are recording a podcast. So just the power and community and meeting people.
It's funny how it works, man.
Yeah. Glad to have you here. I guess just to start off, tell us your story. Like, who is Ryan Tripp? Where'd you come from? Where are you going? Who are you?
Yeah, I'm Ryan Tripp. I was born and raised in Missoula, Montana. Just turned 29 2 weeks ago.
Happy
2 weeks
birthday.
this Friday. Thank you. Yeah, so it feels so surreal. That's crazy. But so kind of got into fitness.
That's so old. 29.
Yeah, I know, right?
So old.
By accident. Like, I was always kind of into it. So rewind, like I never was like the big, strong kid in high school growing up. In fact, my brother he was small starting out, and then he, progressed obviously into being a great starting athlete for Big Sky High School, into college ball, and then played professional football. And so for me, I was always trying to figure out like, well, what am I going to do? Because as we talked before we started, like you've always been Jordy's brother, you know?
Right.
And so like, it was always something of like, well, what should I do? Like, I don't want to play football. I only played football freshman year in high school. I didn't love it. Wasn't big. I wasn't strong. And so initially I just got into lifting out of high school just because
I find that so hard to believe.
Yeah, I wanted
big. I wasn't strong.
Yeah, and I wanted. Yeah, I was like 142 pounds when I graduated high school, and so I took weight training all 4 years, but I like got an A, but I didn't do any work.
The metabolism was working overdrive. You couldn't put on weight.
Yeah, it was ramen and Mountain Dew and Call of Duty. Like yes, any of my friends, they will tell you that is what I did.
Mountain Dew, ramen, and Call of Duty.
And I rode a downhill bike. That's it. That was my one sport, right? So, anyways, just started lifting with a buddy. I'd gotten dumped like right before we graduated, and so I was like, I'm gonna get in the gym and start getting after it, get big, strong, and it was more just like for myself, and you know, it was great, it was awesome, and I did that kind of aimlessly, shotgun approach, following other big guys around the gym and like copying their stuff. Obviously, I had some great guidance from my brother, but you know, I don't want to powerlift, I don't want to do that. Just wasn't my goal, so I kind of just approached that. And then I got into a stage where I started partying a lot, 18, 19, you know, going downtown. Thought that was cool. That was fun. That started taking more precedent over training and weightlifting and progressing. I didn't really have a goal. You know, I never imagined that I was going to be a trainer or a coach. I always thought I was going to get like the $1 million idea and make money on my laptop like that. Yeah. I mean, I've, you know, attended every webinar and talked, you know, done Amazon drop shipping, like all this stuff. So like fitness, this is my 6th business. So I've tried a lot of different things and failed miserably at a lot of them. But what got me into fitness was, so I got into, you know, the year I met Maddie, it was 2016. Start of 2017, I got into business with my dad at his trucking business, and I had worked there since, you know, 8th grade. And so from there, I was thinking about going to commercial diving school, like for welding, because I went to the COT here for welding. And so anyways, an opportunity presented itself, and my dad had some business partners leaving to get into his trucking business. So me being 22, I was like, absolutely, hell yeah, like I'll make more money, own this business with my dad. Like, this is great. This is like my foot in the door. And so did that for a while. And in 2018, kind of just long story short, my dad wound up in the hospital, just, you know, due to lifestyle and compounding, you know, a couple decades of not the best choices, like as far as his overall health went. And so he wound up in the hospital in ICU, and that, I mean, it scared the shit out of me. Like, thought he was going to die. He was in there for like 12 or 14 days or something like that. Weighed like 307 pounds. Triglycerides were through the roof. And it just was a wake up call, because the way that I was living my life after I bought into that business, and I kind of threw my health and fitness out the window. I quit training. I was about 6 years into training at this point. I quit training for a full year and just started partying and having fun and having beers every, you know, Friday night, Saturday night, Sunday morning. And then it turned into Thursday and Wednesday. And then it was just a thing, you know? Yeah. And at that point, that was the first time in my life I discovered what anxiety was. And so I was taking, you know, anything I could to fall asleep, NyQuil, alcohol, just not feeling great about myself. I was trying to figure out, like, okay, is this it for me? Like, am I going to make, you know, 50, 60 grand a year from now till the day I die, maybe 10% increase, you know, between now and then. And so there was really like nothing to look forward to. And when I saw my dad in the hospital, I knew that something needed to change. And I knew that I wanted to help other people avoid that situation that he was in. And so that was the ultimate driving factor. So like when people ask me, like, or they come to us for coaching, to Maddie and I for coaching, and that they tell me that they drink in excess, or it's going to be a hard habit to break. And I'm like, well, you know, it's going to be as hard as much power as you give to it. Like, sure, you say something hard, it's going to be hard, right? It's like me talking about how hard a half marathon is. I should probably shift that belief, but more than anything, I knew that I had to make some changes. And so for me, it was very easy. I just kind of had to remove myself, unfortunately, from some of my friends for a little while, and just focus on, like, what do I actually want? Like, what do I want to get out of life, and what direction do I want to go? Because I saw the path that I was headed, and it was the same, you know, scenario that he was in, same situation that he was in. And so that's what got me initially into it. So in between there, you know, I went to school for fabrication, got into that business, Had my own fabrication business on the side for a bit, and then I started getting into that. So I started the fitness business in 2018. I filed the paperwork, paid somebody, paid that he used to file the paperwork for me. And so I was like, domain, and I was like, hell yeah, man! I got domain, I got a landing page, I got a business.
You're a business owner.
Yeah. So I didn't make any money in 2018, believe it or not. So then I got
lost money. You had to pay that $20 fee with the Secretary of State. Yeah. Keep your filing.
Yeah.
Gym fees.
It was $70 and then $210 for the hour to file it. So it's $280 to file. I remember it all. So then I got into a CBD business with a buddy from high school. We ran that for a while, and then that was kind of going south, losing money on it. Got payment processing taken away, just a bunch of crap. And so I was like, all right, maybe we'll start doing clothing. And then I started doing some e-commerce drop shipping stuff. I'm like, I always thought I could just have this quick little side thing that was going to pay me $10,000 a month. I was like, I'll figure it out. Like, and I just kept thinking that, and I just kept losing money. And I'm like, oh, this looks easier. I'll do this, YouTube, Instagram. Like it was red shiny object syndrome, as my business coach says. So my attention to focus on one thing was horrible.
Sure.
And so all the while I was like, I'm going to figure this fitness thing out. So 2019, I made $250.
Nice.
From a sponsored post with Body Armor. I think they thought I was someone else. I don't know why they paid me to promote water.
They thought you were Jordy.
Yeah, exactly. Right.
Can I say that?
I think they thought that I was my second business partner. This guy named Brenton Simmons, great guy. And he's who I got into my second CBD business with. So I moved down to Scottsdale, Arizona. In this time in 2018, I had gotten a supplement sponsor. And so then when I won this, it's like a $25,000 athlete search, and me and another kid won it. So we split it. So I got like 12.5 grand. And so I was getting paid out like monthly, like broken over 12 months, which was cool. I was like, sweet, this is awesome. I got this going. I'm going to start selling programs. So I started trying to do email-based training programs. Again, didn't make $1. And people are like, would you like train me? And I was like, no, like I don't do that. I'm trying to sell a $10 program, like buy it or not. Nobody bought it. And so anyways, didn't know that the opportunity to actually go coach people and charge them at the time, I probably would, wouldn't have been able to go charge them a couple $1,000s like we do now.
Right.
Because I didn't know how to deliver on this service. Clearly it was in front of my face. And I was like, I just want to sell a program and I don't want anyone to talk to me. And this is going to be easy.
Sure.
Like $10,000 a month. So got into the second CBD business that started going downhill fairly quickly. I sold my house and used that capital to go and put into the business, moved to Arizona. She was there as well Maddie, my girlfriend, was there going to esthetician school. So I was like, we're going to make this fitness thing work. This was leading into 2020. So I moved there middle of January 2020, and then COVID happened. My plan was to personal train in person, which was quickly taken away as an option. And so I was like, well, I have to figure out this thing online. And so June of 2020, got out of the CBD business, was done drop shipping because I just kept losing money on all of it. And I was rapidly running out of the money that I made from selling my house. And so in end of 2020, I hired a business coach on credit card, of all things. And that was, it was enough to where I didn't have enough to make the first, I could put it on my card, but I didn't have the cash to pay for it. And so I did that, and I was like, I guess we're doing this. I looked at Maddie, I was like, we could always go back to you go serve, and I'll go weld or do something. And worst case scenario, I'll try and figure out a way to pay this thing off. And so that's how we got into it, end of 2020, and just wanted to start helping people. So funny enough, Casey Smith was one of the first people that reached out to me.
Really?
He was one of the first of 6. I took 6 clients on. It was like a few $100 for, I think, like 3 months or something like that. And I was like, in exchange, you're gonna give me an awesome transformation testimonial.
Yep.
I can interview you, kind of like we're doing now. And this is what I'm gonna use to like launch my business. And so that's how that kind of all went down. And now fast forward, we're about 31 or 2, almost, like a little over 2.5 years into this officially since end of 2020. So this is the 5th technical year in the fitness business. 2.5 years since we actually started taking it seriously and working on it together. So that's kind of where we're at now, man. It's been really fun. Really fun.
That's an awesome story. It
Thank
sounds
you.
like you had a few weaves and winds in there. Obviously sad what happened to your dad, but there seems to be in all these entrepreneurial stories, this crossroads where I'm looking down the road at what my life can be, and I don't want that. I need to go this other direction. And of course, you didn't know anything about starting or running a business, right? So you
absolutely nothing.
You wander around. What I'm interested about is like when you started in-person training or working directly with people, it wasn't just the mailbox checks which you were looking for at first. What was the challenges in that? Like, how were you good at it, or did you find a niche right away, or were you like, oh man, I totally need to learn all of this?
Yeah, good question. So I'll say that I definitely thought I knew more than I did. I had a lot of nutrition knowledge, had a lot of training knowledge, just from learning, taking courses, certifications over the years. And what I lacked was actually being able to help someone take that and apply it to their life. And so this is something that I talk about all the time is, and I actually just wrote a post about it yesterday that I'm for filming next week, is you could have 100 lifetimes worth of nutrition knowledge or training knowledge, all the best science-based techniques. But if you follow bad, poorly designed program followed consistently, that'll yield way better results. Following a perfect program followed inconsistently or not followed at all. And so
right.
It boils down to application, and I started when I was trying to make money in 2019, 2020, early on. I'm like, here's the plan, here's your training, here's your meal plan, follow it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, don't bug me. Why would you not follow this? And, for me, it seems like in 2018, when I kind of took back control of my health and fitness after seeing the situation my dad ended up in, it was easy, right? Like I knew so badly that I wanted to change and not want that I immediately quit drinking. I started making good habits and forming good habits. And I didn't know really what was best. So I was like, I'll just eat chicken, rice, and quinoa and turkey bacon.
Sure.
For like 27 weeks. And then I would just eat whatever I wanted on the weekends. Wasn't getting great results. And so I started deep diving into nutrition more, how to, track macronutrients, which is something that we, have all of our clients start out with to get people aware of, like,
fats, proteins, carbs.
Yeah. Protein, fats, carbs, total calories.
I got you.
Yeah. So those are the 3 macros, and then alcohol. It's like a little pseudo macronutrient, but without getting too deep into that was, kind of like where we started. I didn't know how to help people take and apply it to their life. I didn't have those types of systems. More so, I didn't have that experience. Now that I've worked with several individuals kind of similar to Brandon in the regard of they will take and apply. 90% of the time, it's here's the perfect plan. Here's where you're at. We need to meet in the middle somewhere and figure out how to make this work and into your lifestyle. Because if it doesn't, if you can't maintain like what you're doing, you're not going to sustain it. Yeah, absolutely. It's just like anything, like when your car needs maintenance, you need to go take care of it, or you're going to run the thing into the ground. And that's what happens. People, I call them like chronic dieters or yo-yo dieters, and they try something for 3 weeks. They lose, they deplete their body of carbs and glycogen and water, and they lose 10 pounds, and then it stalls and they go, screw it. I'm off track. What's one more pizza? What's right? What's one more box of cookies? Like if I'm off, I'm off. And it's like, well, it's more so like, are you off, or how far off are you? Because if you're only 10% off, you could be 10% more on tomorrow. Or, you go 10% over on calories one day, you could go 10% under the next day, you're fine. Even if it's 20%. Yeah. But if you treat it like this all or nothing approach, like, I don't like to think of things in terms of like absolutes. When someone said, you should do this and only this and nothing but this, it's like, well, why should I do that? Right. Or you need to do like, it's like, well, this will probably yield a better result than that. But I don't like to use the word should so much, because again, when it boils down to, use the term like general population clients, the average person that wants to lose 20 pounds, typically they can get themselves in a situation where they lose and regain that same 20 pounds over and over and over again, because they don't have the coaching, the accountability, and the application of how do I apply this to my individual lifestyle? Because everybody's different. He travels all the time. Brandon travels all the time. Some people are, nothing against stay-at-home mom. I'll use myself for example. I work from home. Is it easier for me to cook my food throughout the day? Some people would argue yes, that travel for work, but I just have a different circumstance. It's not easier. There's just a little bit less friction for me, because I've kind of built my lifestyle around, I want to work from home. I'm going to have home cooked meals. I'm going to have everything prepared to make it as easy as possible. So there are ways to fit that into someone's lifestyle that does travel for work, say. And that's really, to answer the question, that's the experience that I lack because I hadn't coached anyone.
Right.
And so getting people to, I don't want to say, hey, trust me, but I kind of had to almost wing it at the start. Like, hey, it's a cheap program. I'm going to get you a great result. And 5 out of the 6 initial people, I had one guy ghost me, unfortunately. 5 out of the 6 people crushed it. And so from there, confidence went up.
I was just going to ask you, Ryan, just like, we could go so deep into macros and body and the science and all of that to somebody who's just listening, hearing your story. I think everybody, the general public, we all have that. I could look better. I could feel better. Confidence. It's kind of scary. It's, hiring a coach. You think it's going to be intense. It's going to be hard work, which it is, that, but you think it's going to be harder than it is. Like, you're kind of at a loss. You've worked with, I don't know, I guess a few hundred people in the last couple of years now. What kind of results are people getting? Because we could talk head knowledge all day of the whys and eating habits and lifestyle and traveling and all the excuses we all have. I've had them. People that work with you, what are some of the average results? What are people seeing? What's the impact your work is making on others' lives?
Yeah, so it's a good question. It's so nuanced because it's hard to blanket statement any of it. Where you were at versus where Maddie was at are pretty different areas. Then there's people that come in that have, maybe not, they don't have a bunch of weight to lose, but they want their body composition to change, but they're pretty good weight, and like you had well, I guess just to call it what it is, you are very successful, and through my eyes, like in a lot of other areas in your life. So for you to take and apply it, you had weight to lose. And we came and did that one thing. Somebody might come in and start where you're at currently and be like, how do I go further from here? And those are 2 different games. If someone like losing your first 20, 30, 40 pounds is a different game than going from, 15% body fat to 9. And some people come in and say, I want to, they come in at the very, very first starting point. And they're like, I want a 6-pack. Right. I'm like, bad goal, like 3-year deal if you are on track. And so really the results largely dependent on like, well, what are your expectations? Like, what do you truly want? And I really try and help people identify that, because me as my girlfriend Maddie, for example, she's told me time and time again, like, well, I'm not as far along as I want to be. But I'm like, well, you can't discredit the hard work that you've done. You came in and lost 35 pounds in a few months, and you've maintained it for over 2 years. Her body composition is crazy. Her sleep's better, her mood's better, everything else about her daily life is better. And now she's kind of ready to.
You make her sound like she was a terrible person a couple of years ago.
And she's ready to take it to that next level. And that's what's really important, is helping the client understand, anybody that we work with for that matter, help them understand, like, what do you really want and why do you want it? Because when someone says like, I want a 6-pack and $1 million, like, we all do.
Duh.
I love that.
No, I get that. I guess I love that the results are all tailored to the individual. Those of you who don't know, I hired Ryan and worked with Ryan at the beginning of the year. It's phenomenal. It was some of the best money, time, energy spent, but my results are so different than Maddie's. We're talking with Maddie earlier, like, so much of it is just what you overcome, the mental battle. Mm-hmm. Maddie and I are very different. I'm 6'4", you're 5'2". Yeah. Very different. So our results are obviously going to be very different.
Yep.
But so much progress has been made for both of us.
For sure.
And without specifically asking Maddie, I would assume I know the answer to this question is it isn't just about the image in the mirror. It's the mental health, the confidence in life, the being able to sleep, the way you're able to attack the day, get things done. Like, for me, it wasn't just, I was in the gym an hour and a half every day and eating better food. It was all of life became better because you have more disciplines in your life. Mm-hmm. You begin saying yes to things that benefit your life, and everything else you just don't have time for anymore. So no, I love that it's.
Yeah. One thing I just want to elaborate on is, like, one of my biggest downfalls is I think I'd like to bring chaos into my life. And I do that through, like, I will schedule things. Like, I just hired a videographer, for instance. And so now I'm paying him enough money to where if I don't have content filmed, it's on me, not him.
Yeah.
Right. And I can't go and boss him around and be like, you need to get this done, on Friday of the end of the week. Like I went and filmed everything yesterday. I went to the lake Saturday, came back Saturday night, filmed Sunday, uploaded, wrote out the scripts, gave him all the additional clips that he needed. So now he's prepared. And like that structure will set you free. And I think a lot of people are afraid of it. They're like, when they hear it, they're like, well, do I have to do this forever? And I'm like, no, but learning what you need to put into your body to help you maintain long term. Like if you some people come in, they're like, I just want to lose 30 pounds. I don't have to think about it. I'm like, well, you're in luck, but
it doesn't actually work that way.
There's a cost.
Yeah.
You come and put 6 months to 12 months of hard work and diligently obsessing and tracking your food. And I've argued with other coaches about this. They're like, what if someone has disordered eating? I'm not qualified to talk on that, but we have had positive outcomes with people that come to us with the diagnosed disordered eating from giving them structure and showing them, if you do this for 6 to 12 months, you'll become so in tune with your body. What makes it feel good? What makes you feel not good? You have that structure. Right. That'll ultimately give you freedom down the line, but it comes at a cost. You have to put in the work, the front end work. And so like right now, right when I walked in the office, he said, well, I was kind of 50-50, the month after, because you were traveling for all those. And now you're right back to what you're doing. And it's a little bit easier than it probably was on the first week because you already kind of built that structure of those habits and you have prior knowledge of what you need to do versus not do. And that's
because it impacts so much of your life. It wasn't so much the weight loss. That was a benefit to.
It's just a byproduct.
I always tell people. The sleeping better, I don't know what happened, but I didn't realize
better.
I didn't realize I had like joint pain. Like, my left leg's garbage. I've torn my Achilles and my ACL 3 times. Like my left knee is shot, but just even this, that's helped the feeling inside my left knee. Like it's just, you feel better.
Yeah. What part of the business do you like the most? Like the Brandon comes to you, I lost 40 pounds, or, there's these huge goals and you can celebrate with people, or you got to kick them in the butt a little bit here and there. Or do you like the back end, social media, accounting? Because some people love that part. We're not all built the same, which is why organizations obviously grow.
That's a tough one. So, excuse me. Another downfall is I like to be in control. So I have a hard time delegating.
Sure.
So
most entrepreneurs
so like we have a pretty good size client roster right now. And thankfully I have Maddie's help on a lot of those like little like minutia tasks, like little last minute things like that I will forget if it's not written down, like it's in one ear and it circles around and spits right out the other. And it's like, I know that I need to do some of these things. I love the admin side. I love the process. I like seeing numbers. I like analytics. Like I like all of the data. That's why I'm so huge on tracking, because tracking nutrition, tracking workouts and weight. And so, it's a tough question to answer. Like I love celebrating the client ones. His is awesome, super fun to celebrate, but I could almost tell him like within the first week that I knew that he was going to get a result like that, just based off the conversations we had. Prior to him and I working together, another client, Dave Kruger, was the one that I guess technically introduced me to you because we were going to those meetings. And you ultimately decided to work with me, I think because of Casey. But without trailing off, like I know that being in that room with him for a few hours prior to us working together, how he operated, how his business was, how everything was, that he was going to excel.
Sure.
It's not that other people don't. Some people just, again, like we're back to, they're at a little different starting point. I like to celebrate that just as much, but I like to spend a little more time there because it's just another, checking off a box for Brandon. Like he got after it. He did what he needed to do. And he's just full steam ahead, going right on to the next thing. Some people need to hang out in that area of like, well, what does winning the day look like for me? And it's something I talk to people about all the time. Like they want to see the weight go down. And you're saying it's just the byproduct. They want to see the weight go down so much that they'll literally hyper focus on that and forget about everything else. I'm like, remember, that's.
Losing the weight was the initial goal, but so much more came out of it that the focus no longer became the weight. It was everything else.
Yeah, the lifestyle change. And so, like, to answer, sorry for the drug out answer, but it's tough. Like, I try to celebrate it all. I really enjoy the admin side of the business.
Yeah.
Like, I love it. Like, because that's what I've always wanted out of a business is like, I think about one of my favorite episodes from like Well, it's in a lot of the episodes. The Jetsons. You guys remember the Jetsons?
Yes.
He comes in, and he
George
pushes the button,
Jetson.
and everything turns on, and is running, and everything's going crazy, and he's just like up in the office, like, I don't want to be that guy, but it's cool
some sense of that.
to see something that you build, because you know the overarching impact is to help as many, you know, busy parents, individuals, single moms, dads, anyone that needs to regain control of their health and fitness, like get their keys back to their life through instilling good habits and
awesome,
and taking care of it. Like that's our goal. So that's why I like the admin side more than number side. That's why I'm all about hiring the videographer, creating content, making sure we can reach more people, booking more sales calls, getting on calls with more people. Because if I don't book more calls, I'm doing everybody a disservice by not getting out in front of them and not helping them. Because if I can't get on the phone with people and have them, you know, exchange money in exchange for them taking control of their health and fitness, I'm doing a disservice. Like, so I have to make sure that is the number one goal. And then the product and service, obviously, of getting people the results and coaching them through it. That's the other, you know, it's like 50-50.
Right.
And so I do understand with time, like as we grow, I'm going to have to start delegating some of that stuff out. So Maddie coming on as a coach for coaching more women so we can expand our client roster, our reach, and hiring a male coach for all the guys, and doing that. That's a big roadblock that I'm looking at, that I need to build systems. And
then you'll coach coaches.
Yeah. And I'll have to start coaching coaches, and I still want to have my own roster of clients, because it's very close to me. Like I love that feeling of celebrating wins. Something that our business coach has us build is called like a brag book. And so I'll write down, like you've seen, I like screenshot the client wins of the week, and we'll like write them down on a sticky note and fill out like a page and pin it on our wall. So when I'm having a 15 minutes, you know, in my work week, I can look at the wall and be like,
oh yeah, that's why I do it.
It's crazy. Like seeing your social media, like the number of people I know that have worked with you and the results, like it's really cool. It's like there's this community now, that this following that you have, and the Lean Life Project. And if you're listening and you're not following Ryan, be sure to check him out on Facebook. Just go and search Ryan Tripp. You'll find him. Hundreds of photos of just people's transformation. Ryan, one of the things when we first met and we were talking business that blew my mind, because I'm thinking like, okay, this guy's a personal trainer. He gets paid to go meet people at the gym and tells them what lifts to do and how much weight. And then, okay, we'll meet again tomorrow and do it again. Like that's like the extent of what I thought the business was. And there was the nutrition piece. But as we're having conversations, you're talking about marketing, sales strategy, the automation you're using in follow-up, the different apps and platforms and integrations. And it was like, whoa.
Yeah, Dave and I
this is a whole business.
Yeah.
Like this is a business. The product you're selling is a lifestyle change or mental well-being. But like it changed my whole perception of the industry of like, and now I see you say I travel a lot. You're at some sort of conference or in Cancun or Vegas or something, just as much as I am. But there's this whole network of where you're going to be coached by coaches and how to grow the business. And it's really cool. I want to go back to where we started with your dad and that tragic situation where he ended up in the hospital. Share with us the happy ending, the story of where your dad is today in life because of your influence.
Yeah. So that was 2018. And, you know, after that, he had lost some weight, ate generally healthier, and kind of got back to a good spot. But again, this is why I think setting goals is so important. And some within reach, some a little out of your reach, because if they're out of your reach, you'll reach a little further and you'll get further than you thought you could. That's where breaking limiting beliefs comes through. But so this last year, 2022 was when he actually finally started getting back into the gym. Because other than that, like he kind of got to a point where he got generally healthier. You know, he wasn't drinking, he wasn't, he's eating better, and lifestyle was overall better, but he still didn't have that goal in mind. So his weight just kind of like climb up, and then he'd be like, I gotta lose some weight, and climb up, and it was like a little further each time. And that's typically everyone's story, right? They gain, 2 to 5 pounds a year for 30 years, and then they're up 80, 100, 200 pounds.
Right.
And so it happens over time. And I kind of saw that happening again. And he even told me, he's like, I want to get this dialed in. And he was a little resistant to wanting to track and kind of like follow the process. And I'll just be, curt, like, I hope I don't offend any of my family or friends, but coaching family and friends is very tough.
Right.
I coached my brother, which was funny. That was weird. I'm like, buddy, you don't need any information from me.
Post NFL, you coached him?
Yeah, him and his wife. And it was super fun.
Hey,
they crushed it.
That's awesome.
I'm sure they did.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
And so anyways, with my dad, like, he finally was like, yeah, you know what? Like, let's do it. And so he started following the training. And then I was like, I'm telling you, if you like, you're in the gym 5 days a week, you're hiking, you're doing everything. I'm like, if I can just get you to start tracking your nutrition, because you just didn't want to have anything to do with it.
Sure.
I was like seeing him at work, I'd go out to a shop sometimes and he'd be like, after training legs, he'd just be like dead. And I'm like, what is wrong with you? Like, did you not sleep last night or what's going on? And so we kind of, I helped him audit, as much as I love that word, kind of audit like his nutrition and his habits. And I'm like, you're probably eating like 60 to 70 grams of protein a day. And I'm not trying to be like the meathead in here saying protein's the only thing that matters, but high protein diet and lifting weights will solve most problems.
I bet I have like 15 texts from you that say eat more protein.
Yeah. And Casey too. I told him, I was like, hey man, I know you're going to New York. You got to like do whatever you need to do, hit your steps. Don't worry about working out, but hit your protein every day. That'll help you maintain lean muscle. It'll help you stay satiated, feeling fuller longer. It'll
Thanks,
help
Dad.
everything. And so within a matter of like a few weeks, he starts immediately feeling better. His weight's coming down. He's starting to progress in the gym and get stronger. And so his body composition is changing. So we did end of last year. So we kind of did that throughout the summer, but nothing real strict, just kind of generally got better. And then he's like, okay, I want to like take it up a notch. And so I did a 16-week, I documented it, did a like an email series on this. I did a 16-week cut with him. And he already had, the reason we chose 16 weeks was he's got a couple bad shoulders and his knees. He's got a lot of, he had a ACL tear blowout last year of high school, I believe. And he was, college level football player. And so he's had a lot of issues with that knee. He's had some issues with the shoulder, torn rotator cuff, bad labrum, stuff like that. And so he decided, he's like, I want to get this taken care of. I want to like get down into a good weight and start going and doing what you do. Like one thing we've talked about doing is skydiving, because I like to skydive, and he has always weighed too much. He's like, I'm going to do that with you, and wants to start getting more active. And he has been. So we chose 16 weeks. He had stem cell therapy scheduled. So I was like, well, let's just do it up until like 2 weeks before. And then we can like taper everything down, because you can't be like inflamed when you go. Mm-hmm. You got to go there for like a few weeks prior. So we did that, and he lost like another, I think like 28 pounds or something over 6 weeks, and leaned out quite a bit. And then he maintained it, because you can't lift or do anything, like you can't strain at all for like another 8 weeks. And then he can start slowly working back in the gym. So he did that and then maintained his body weight for 8 weeks. And now he's back on week 3 of training again.
Wow.
And hiking again. He's feeling amazing, like better than he ever has. I mean, he was in the hospital 5 years ago. He looks 10 years younger now than he did 5 years ago. And so it's really cool.
That's gotta be so rewarding for you.
Yeah. And it's just fun. Like that's the goal, like with everyone. Not everyone's going to have that aggressive of a transformation. I totally understand, because some people aren't far off from where they want to be. And some people, they come in like with zero gym experience. And like Brandon said earlier on, they are scared. They're like, this is going to be a lot of work. I don't know, like, what should my actual goal be? And they don't, and some people just won't reach out for help. They'll just let it go and go and go until something, and that's my goal, is to try and help people avoid is, let's not wait till you're in the hospital or get diagnosed with diabetes before you have to make this decision.
Yeah, right.
Like make taking care of your health cool again is the goal, right?
Yeah.
And stop treating your body like we get to trade it in, because we only get one. So that's the goal, man.
That's amazing, Ryan. What a cool story you can share with your dad.
Yeah.
I'm sure he's like, okay.
Yeah.
All right. I can listen to my son a little bit.
Yeah. It's fun.
We are the Missoula podcast, and I know you've traveled around a little bit, Arizona for a while. Can you just close us down on what this city means to you? I know you've had some roots here, why you chose to start your business here, and what do you love about this place? Why is this home, and why does it continue to be home?
Yeah, I love the fact that when I go out to dinner, I'll run into probably like 5 people I know. I love that like community aspect. Yeah. It's just fun. Maddie and I were talking about it literally on the way here. She's like, I saw Brandon Did you say TJ Maxx or Target? TJ Maxx.
I don't go to
guys,
TJ. What?
And
what?
And
no, it was someone else.
Yeah. And so, anyways, it's funny because like then I went to dinner, birthday dinner, and I saw like 3 people, and like I love the small town feel. So that's number one. Just the community here, the amount of people that I've gotten to know, and being able to work with a lot of people that I got to know over the years, like through my parents, through my brother, through like you start to like have these networks of friends, and it's fun to like being engaged with people. I mean, I loved Arizona, but during COVID, I didn't have anyone to talk to. There's nothing to do. And I don't know, it's a great place to go get some sun. But like if you've ever been to Montana between the months of, well, maybe this June's that example, but like June to October, it's the most beautiful place you'll ever live. Like I don't think there's a single place on earth that's better.
It's a special place for sure.
It's cool.
Yeah.
And so I just love it here. I mean, like born and raised here, it was weird being in Arizona for that long. Like I love traveling, I love going to Mexico, I love hanging out on the beach, I love wake foiling, but like you can do most of this stuff here. If anything, I'll probably try and be that snowbird. Hopefully by the time I'm like, if I can do it by the time I'm like,
it's funny. My
32
my parents and my in-laws are both in Phoenix
Yeah.
Valley, and
year round.
Yes, I mean my parents are up here back and forth a little bit, but they're down there and love going down there. But every time we come back to Montana, it doesn't matter the time of year. Like so, Missoula's home. Such a special place. And
walk outside of the airport and it's like crispy, fresh air.
We're heading down there in mid-July. We'll be down there, and it's not going to be
good.
No, it's going to be hot. Yeah, it's going to be miserable.
What are you going down there for?
My wife, the company she works for, is based out of there,
Okay.
and we have family down there, so going down for meetings. But
Nice.
Out in Phoenix in mid-July.
You were just there in April for that speaking engagement, right?
I was. Good memory.
Mid-April.
Good.
It was the same. There was a fitness coaching conference at the same hotel the 3 days before you're there.
Oh, really?
Sheraton, Phoenix.
Crazy.
Yeah.
That's where you were?
We were there.
That's right.
Yeah.
You go too?
Yeah.
He was there. Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah.
So like it's fun. I love to bounce around and travel and meet new people. But yeah, this will definitely always be home, and it just seemed like the best place to like. I want to work with a lot of people I know.
Yeah.
I mean, people I don't know as well, but like if,
Sure.
this definitely made the most sense community wise, and just a good spot to be.
That was great because of knowing you. I wasn't sold anything. Like, you didn't have to sell me at all. Like called, like, what are the details? Hey, here's what it is. I was like, hey, take my credit card, take my money. Here we go. Like, it was easy. There was no sale because just because of the relationship. If people want to get to know you, or that people do know you, where can they find you?
Just Ryan Tripp on Facebook. The Lean Life Project, you probably type that into, that'll pull us up, and then Ryan Tripp Fitness on Instagram.
Okay.
And
we'll go follow them, find them, connect.
Yeah, we're really glad the impact you're making in the city, man.
It's been fun. Thank you guys for having me.
Yeah, it's been a blast. Thanks for being here.